It was a crisp winter afternoon in the charming village of Altaischigen, nestled deep in the rolling hills of southern Germany, the kind of place where everyone knew your name and the streets were lined with cobblestone and centuries-old houses. I'd just come out of a small bakery, its smell of fresh bread still clinging to my coat, when I saw him again. Lucas. His face was familiar, but the weight of the months since we'd last spoken lingered heavily between us. I'd broken up with him 6 months ago, and though I tried to convince myself that I had moved on, there was still a piece of me that wondered about the what-ifs. Lucas had always been charming, with his easy smile and eyes that could melt anyone's heart. But the obsession he had with getting back together had never been healthy. He couldn't let go. "I didn't expect to see you here," Lucas said, his voice carrying a hint of disbelief as we stood face to face on the snowy sidewalk. "I know," I replied softly. "I didn't either." The words hung in the air, and I realized that it was much harder to see him in person than I had imagined. He still looked like the Lucas I had once loved, handsome, confident, but also a bit lost. As the days passed, I found out that Lucas had done something unexpected. He'd taken a vow. A strange one, if you ask me. He'd sworn off all forms of physical affection for the entire season of Lent. No kissing, no touching, no sex. He believed that by doing this, he would gain some kind of clarity, perspective, he called it, to figure out what had gone wrong with us. I heard the news from my friend Greta, who ran the local cafe. "Did you hear about Lucas?" she asked, her voice almost incredulous. "He's not going to kiss anyone, well, for the next 40 days. Claims it'll give him the insight he needs to fix things." I didn't know whether to laugh or feel sorry for him. I had been clear with Lucas. We were done. But it seemed like he was trying to fight some inner battle with himself, one that had nothing to do with me. Still, I couldn't help but wonder what his obsession with me had to do with this vow. Was he trying to punish himself? Trying to prove something to me? Or was he just trying to make sense of everything that had gone wrong? A few days later, Lucas met someone new. Her name was Anna, and she was everything Lucas had never been: calm, collected, and unassuming. She was a local artist, quiet, with an ethereal presence that seemed to draw Lucas in like a moth to a flame. I noticed them together one chilly evening at the village square. They were laughing, their heads close together as they shared a quiet joke. Lucas looked happy, genuinely happy, for the first time in months. And yet, something was different. Anna seemed to have no idea about Lucas's vow. She was too kind to question him, and he was too embarrassed to admit it. When I saw them again at the town's Christmas market, I couldn't help but feel a pang of jealousy. But I also felt relief. Maybe Lucas was finally moving on. And maybe I could too. Despite his new relationship, Lucas still didn't tell Anna about his vow. The secrecy between them began to grow, and I could see the cracks forming in what seemed like a picture-perfect romance. "You should tell her, Lucas," my friend Thomas said one evening at the pub. "If you're really serious about her, don't you think she deserves to know?" Lucas looked uncomfortable. "She'll think I'm crazy," he muttered, running a hand through his hair. "She'll think I'm doing this because of Nickel." I tried to give him space, but it was impossible not to notice the toll this was taking on him. His relationship with Anna, though seemingly happy, was built on lies. How long could it last? It didn't take long before Anna noticed something was off. She grew impatient with Lucas, her frustration building up, until one evening, when they were sitting on a bench near the village church, she finally confronted him. "Lucas, why won't you kiss me?" Anna asked, her voice trembling. "What's going on?" Lucas sighed deeply, and I could see the weight of his decision pressing on him. He knew that if he didn't tell her the truth now, he might lose her forever. I made a vow," Lucas began, his voice low and filled with shame. "For Lent, I swore off all forms of affection. No kissing, no anything." Anna looked at him, confusion spreading across her face. "Why would you do that? For me? For someone else?" "For myself," Lucas said, finally looking up at her. "I thought that if I gave up everything, I'd figure things out. I thought I could fix, everything." The silence between them grew thick and heavy, and for a moment, I wondered if Anna would walk away. But then, slowly, she spoke. "I don't understand," she said softly, "but I think I'm starting to." And with that, she stood up, her hands trembling at her sides. In the days that followed, Lucas and Anna's relationship began to unravel. Lucas had hoped that the vow would somehow fix his life, but instead it had become a wedge between them. The secrets, the distance, the lack of intimacy, it all added up. I watched from a distance, unsure whether I should feel sorry for Lucas or if he had brought this upon himself. His obsession with his past had clouded his judgment, and now Anna, too, was walking away. Meanwhile, I was busy with my own life. My fiancé, Adrian, was a kind and patient man. He'd been my rock through everything. And now, with the wedding approaching, I was grateful for the stability he gave me. Lucas's chaos no longer held a grip on me. One evening, after the market closed, I found Lucas sitting alone on a bench by the river. His face was tired, and his shoulders slumped, as if the weight of the world was on him. "I think I messed up," Lucas admitted quietly as I approached. "You didn't just mess up, Lucas," I said gently. "You lost yourself, and now you're paying the price." Lucas didn't argue. Instead, he just nodded, as though he'd known all along but hadn't been ready to hear it. "I let the past consume me," he murmured, "and now I'm paying for it." "It's not too late," I said softly, "but you have to stop living in the past, Lucas. You have to let go." Lucas spent the next few weeks reflecting on everything, his vow, his past, and his feelings for Anna. Slowly, he began to come to terms with his mistakes. It wasn't easy, but he was starting to understand that love wasn't about grand gestures or sacrifice. It was about being honest with yourself and the people you cared about. A month later, Lucas and Anna met again, this time without secrets between them. The weight of the past was still there, but it was no longer the defining factor in their relationship. They took things slow, learning to trust each other again. As for me, I was preparing for my wedding to Adrian. It wasn't the grand romantic story I had once imagined, but it was real and it was mine. Lucas's journey had taught me that sometimes love isn't about perfection. It's about the people you choose to share it with and the life you build together. Lucas and Anna were still together, though they had a long road ahead of them. Lucas had learned to embrace the future, not the past, and was moving forward. And me? I was ready for the next chapter in my life. Love was never simple, but sometimes the hardest lessons were the ones that helped us grow. Ready to improve your English in a fun and engaging way? Start learning through stories today. Subscribe to Learn with Godson and dive into captivating stories that will help you expand your vocabulary, understand sentence structures, and practice pronunciation. Stories make learning English exciting and memorable. Join us on this journey and watch your language skills grow with each story. The voiceover in this video is given by Learn with Godson. Copying or re-uploading is prohibited.